Pepsi just out with earnings, better than estimated sales, earnings right in line. The company, though, warning there is a higher uncertainty about the consumer. The stock falling a little bit right now in the pre-market. For more, we bring in Hugh Johnston. He is Pepsi's CFO. He's joining us from Purchase, New York. Hugh, thanks for coming back to the Inside Track. Glad to have you. We're noticing earnings in line, sales stronger than forecast. How much of the earnings are you having to manage with rising commodity costs?
Yeah, good morning, Deirdre. Certainly commodity costs are a challenge for all of us in the consumer product space right now. One of the things that we put in place about a year ago is a systematic hedging program so that we give ourselves a good level of predictability. Earlier this year, we set $1.4 billion to $1.6 billion in commodities increases, and we're still within that range. So
that's what you're prepared for.
We expected it to be. That's exactly right. Now, what we also said previously is that we would be implementing pricing, and in fact, we are doing that in the back half of this year. It's something that we felt like we needed to do. The challenge, obviously, is going to be in developed markets as we do that, managing the balance between consumer demand and consumer offtake with the higher prices with the margin realization of pricing. So but that's very much a developed markets challenge. The balance of our portfolio is doing quite well internationally.
Doing quite well. You did raise prices. That's what you just told us. Will U.S. consumers, and I heard you say it's a trickier line as far as developed markets go, will U.S. consumers keep buying your products even though they have to pay more for them? What if we pay more at the gas tank? Does that mean that people begin to cut back on their favorite snacks and drinks?
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of evidence of that to date. There's no question that the consumer in the U.S. is stressed. They're really dealing with the triple whammy of unemployment, disposable incomes not growing, and in addition to that, food and beverage inflation, as well as broader inflation in the economy. That said, particularly in our snack food business, where there aren't a lot of great substitutes, people do tend to want to go for that simple pleasure that a snack or a beverage brings to them. So, but that said, we do have to be cautious, especially for that value consumer, in understanding where it is that they're willing to pay and where it is that they're not willing to pay. It's a balance we have to manage.
Hugh, I understand the developed markets, North America being one of them, harder to manage than developing markets. And I'm looking at your revenue breakdown actually from a previous quarter. Seems like revenue-wise, international about 60% of your business, developed about 40%. Is that likely to be the same ratio going forward for the rest of this year and beyond?
Well, I think those numbers are probably flipped the other way around. But yeah, we're certainly seeing international growing faster than our North American or our developed markets businesses. And that's part of the balance of the portfolio that we have to manage. As we look at our portfolio, we tend to look at snacks and beverages and then international and domestic. And as we look at international, really across the board, it's doing quite well. And the snack food business is also doing quite well. The beverage business in developed markets is undoubtedly a challenge, but that's something that we're going to have to manage our way through. And as you saw in the second quarter, the portfolio worked well.
Hugh, we only have about 30 seconds left. I notice you're giving pretty conservative guidance, lowering the earnings for the year. Do you think you'll be able to beat that, though, as the year goes on? What could change your minds?
Yeah, you know, it's funny when we provide guidance that's really our best estimate. So I think at this point that's probably what I'd say is the most likely outcome.
All right, Hugh, thanks so much for the time. Hugh Johnston joining us there. He is the CFO of Pepsi.